Let's play a clip of your conversation with Nora Guthrie, Woody Guthrie's daughter. Take a look. This is Jonatha Brooke and Nora Guthrie.
It's life teaching. You know, it's not just like, oh, that's a cool lyric he wrote in '54. That's a very important teaching that he put into a lyric that you bring to life. And I just think that's so amazing. That's what keeps me going in all of this stuff, is to see artists find and you're rewriting history.
Why is she crying there?
She walked into the studio the first day we were recording, and she didn't know what to expect. She was really not meddlesome at all. She gave me full run of the archives and didn't try to step in musically in any way. So she was hearing these things for the first time, and she walked in on this song called My Battle, and right on the bridge where I had found it in a journal from 1946 where he said, "I never dread the day I will die because my sunset is somebody's morning sky." And we were just listening back to the first take, which ended up being the take that is on the record. And she walked in during that phrase and she just burst into tears.
Who wouldn't?
It's pretty powerful.
Talk a bit about your collaborators. You had sort of the cream of the crop for this album.
I had the dream band of all time, and I had for many years wanted to work with these musicians, and we are mutual fans, which is quite cool. Steve Gadd is just my favorite drummer of all time. Joe Sample is the most amazing keyboardist I've ever encountered, and Christian McBride played upright bass, and sure enough they all said, yeah, count me in, and they actually all had the same 2 days free, which I took as a sign, okay, this is meant to happen, because that rarely does happen.
Well, talking about good things coming out of, inauspicious circumstances, a lot of this work comes out of pretty tough times for Woody Guthrie. You describe being moved by his struggle with Huntington's disease. What do you know, or what did the work reveal that you didn't know about what he went through?
Well, that was the biggest part, was coming across these lyrics the first day that I was in there with impossible to read sort of chicken scratch across like these reams of legal pad paper, because when he was confined to the hospital from 1954 until he died in 1967, and he was already, his movements were jerky, his speech was jerky, he wasn't able to play really, but he kept writing stuff down. And you could barely read it. There's one song called New Star where he's talking about, when I'm gone, I'll shine bright for you, my new star in heaven tonight. And it was barely legible, but I just found myself choking up in the archives, and that was again an indication. All right, this one's for you. You better write the melody.
That was the period when Bob Dylan came to visit him, I think.
Yep.
Don't want to get sort of banal about it, but the relevances for today, for you, for our times. What do you think?
Well, he is the original singer-songwriter, and I think we all sort of owe him a little debt of gratitude, because we're all traipsing around the country trying to sing our little songs for an audience, hopefully. And there's one song called Madonna on the Curb, which is probably the only really political one, per se, on the record. And it just talks about, this homeless woman in New York City taking care of little children on the street, some dirty, filthy street. And, I think that's sort of apropos today still. There's no healthcare real solution at this point, and we're still traipsing around the world telling everyone else how to run their business, and so I thought that was sort of a poignant one to include.
Now, you said you're in the tradition of traipsing off around the country trying to find an audience. You found an audience. You decided to start your own label, Bad Dog. Why?
Well, I did 4 records on major labels, and had some success, actually, although short-lived, because there's always a regime change, and then you're at the mercy of some new person coming in who doesn't know who you are or care. So you're sort of left onto your own devices. So I started Bad Dog Records, mostly at first to test the waters, to see if I could do it myself. And sure enough, I did great. So when I made my next record, it seemed like, well, why not do this again? Because I can do just as well as the majors did, and perhaps better. And that's when I started, I got on the Letterman show and Conan O'Brien, and we had major labels calling us at little, it's just me and my husband.
Who's the
Bad Dog Records? I think that would be me. But, and people calling us saying, like, how the hell did you do that? You're like, how'd you get top 5 at radio with Link? Come on, what's going on? And so we've done really well.
You are traveling still today, and with this album, you'll be getting more and more attention. It's been out for a bit, but it's still getting a lot of play. Do you find yourself drawn to the same themes that Woody Guthrie was drawn to back in the 30s, as so many people make a sort of parallel between this period and that one?
You know, I'm always drawn to more personal stuff than political.
You're not writing dust bowl
Dust Bowl
ballads.
ballads. It's just never been my forte, and I don't feel comfortable sort of being political in my music. I feel more comfortable talking about experience, and you know, I certainly make stuff up. It's not about my maudlin little experience. You know, I love sort of creating scenarios and stories and voices, but for me, it's more personal.
We're going to hear more from Jonatha Brooke. She's going to perform more from the new album right here in our studio. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
The Works is fabulous. We'll put information about how you can get a copy of the CD at our website. That's GRITtv.org. Jonatha Brooke, everybody. Buckle your seatbelts. Stay tuned.
Look out across that sea and see those breakers swell. How many hearts tossed apart, no human tongue can tell. Nobody can ever solve that dark sea's mysteries. How many hearts is bloomed and broke, same as you and me. 'Cause there's more true lovers in one. There's more true lovers in one. Cast out aside by every tide. There's more true lovers in one. Across that sea to see the white cap breakers arise. True love comes in like an ocean tide, like the wind it flies. Upon these moonlit sands, how many of vows sworn? How many a heart was tossed and broke? Love went rolling on. 'Cause there's more true lovers in one. There's more true lovers in one. Cast out aside by every tide. There's more true lovers in one. So high above, seas many a kiss exchanged. Sees many a heart that has to part, never to return again. Carved our names in the sand, where love's great waters roll. But names untold and washed away, while love went rolling on. 'Cause there's more true lovers in one. There's more true lovers in one. Cast out aside by every tide. There's more true